Hi, you all? I'm just trying to adjust the screen here. Is that okay? Okay. Hi, how is everybody? It's been a few days since I have been in the kitchen. I got to see some of the kids graduate high school. What a whirlwind of emotions. If anyone had children graduating, it's like the saying goes, they fly the coop, right? Spread their wings. So I can only hope that my girls, one of the girls, does great things in this world. On my seaside adventure, I got the greatest liberty of making a peach cobbler. Peach is one of my favorites. I love apricots. But I got to make a peach cobbler with my girlfriend Sara in her kitchen. I love cooking and baking in other folks' kitchen because it really shows adaptability when you can adapt to everyone's environment. Um, Not knowing where things are, but it gets tricky, but super fun. Anyway, I am here to show you how to make the peach cobbler. I think it's perfect for any summer barbecue that y'all may be attending this summer. Summer's here. Kids are out of school. Summer is here. Pool days, church gathering. So here we are. Very simple. This recipe actually isn't even that expensive to make. You probably have most of the ingredients in your pantry. We were talking everything cast iron, Sara and I. I love to cook and bake in cast iron. I have a cast iron on the stove, kind of preheating. Yes. Um, but I'm going to use this size of cast iron. You can get cast iron quite a few places. It's not that expensive. Peaches. Here's a peach. Peaches are on sale right now. I got a good deal. Um, I would say the most time you're going to spend on this recipe is peeling the peach. Say that three times fast. Peeling the peach, peeling the peach. But first, let's put our butter in. I do have the recipe on my phone. Sara, 111 on the clock, you guys. Oh, 111. 111. Yay. We are going to use 8 tablespoons of butter, which is basically a whole stick of butter. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's unsalted butter. So we have 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm going to cut it up. Usually when the butter is hard, I can cut it with the paper, but I let it sit out on the countertop. And I'm just going to cut it in fours. I have washed my hands. And normally I would throw my hair back in a pony if I'm doing like cooking for other folks, but since I'm cooking for my family, they don't care. And I'm doing this for YouTube Live. I'm going to take these 4 squares of butter and gently put them in my cast iron skillet here that is been warming, and we are going to, I always keep a towel. My grandmother kept a towel on her shoulder and always wore an apron. So I love to collect aprons, actually. This is one apron that my Aunt Misty got for me. Um, she also got me a really cute cherry apron. I'll have to find that somewhere. Anyway, so I put the butter in and it is slowly melting. The funny thing about this recipe is once you mix everything, like you can't stir. It like says 3 times in the recipe, don't stir. So, and I'm like, I love to stir. Anyway, moving on. The peaches. I have the peaches in the fridge. I cut them, sorry for my backside. I cut them up already earlier because it was really time consuming. And YouTube's retention, like most humans, get to about here probably. These are peaches. Sugar, just a tad, and magic potion, which I'll explain to you later. I let them chill in the refrigerator. It's been about, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. But basically, you're going to take 3 cups of peeled peaches cut. I always do a little bit more because fruit tends to shrink, and I love like an abundance of the fruit, and I love peaches. So I'm just going to show you quickly, you guys, how to. I use that for butter. This is, and I'm obviously no professional. I am just a hippie girl who grew up basically in a kitchen. Peach, right? But I'm going to peel it. So normally I wouldn't have cut the peach, but YouTube lives are so fun. Some people peel back. I peel to me. Be careful when you have, if you like your kids, y'all's kids are going to help you, you guys. Peelers are they're not dangerous at all, but they can be sharp and tricky. So anyway, like I said, normally I wouldn't have cut the peach, but since I'm on YouTube Live and, you get to talking. So my friend Sara and I, when we were cooking this together, everyone was out of the house or the kids were in their rooms. And, we got to talking. It's like, Sara, watch this, So peel, cut. You don't want to put the seed in. So I'm just adding it to the peaches I already have. So you get distracted when you're cooking. I think the hardest thing in the kitchen is timing. Timing is just everything. I'm going to eat this and use that as a snack for later, just because. Anyway, here we are. Carry on. Peaches are there. And these ingredients you're going to mix together, all together. 1 cup of unbleached flour. I have just my regular mixing bowl. Nothing's fancy. In my kitchen, I've been to a few fancier kitchens, like my friends' homes that are like zillionaires, and they have really pretty kitchens and like pantry space everywhere. Anyway, looking for stuff. Mixing bowl. 1 cup of unbleached flour. I've kind of already measured these things out because it makes it easier to do this. Unbleached flour, you can get any brand. There goes the flour. 1 cup of granulated sugar. Okay. 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, I have a funny story about the salt, and this is why I'm using the salt as the last part. So when Sara and I'm just mixing these together. When Sara and I were making this, we were talking about kids and family and just everything, life, aliens. She put salt and she says, "Oh, gee, I put too much salt." Now, as you age, like we were talking about, aging as a woman, I don't like to add a lot of salt to my recipes because I bloat. Salt makes me bloat. I also was doing some cooking for a gentleman who was a little older with a heart condition. So I got to the habit of not adding as much salt or low sodium. So anyway, it was funny because she said, "Oh my gosh, gee, we added too much salt." But we corrected it. And it didn't, it really wasn't that bad. So it actually was fantastic. but this time I measured everything out. So a pinch of salt. I'm going to do a healthy pinch. Like maybe this is like a good healthy pinch. I added just a little bit extra peaches, remember? So I don't want it too sweet because we're going to use ice cream and whipped cream. So I'm going to do like 2 healthy pinches of salt. 2 pinches of salt. All right. We're going to mix all this together. Now, I have the oven preheated to 375. I'm going to stir right now the butter in the skillet. I have this stove that I'm working on today really keeps a good heat. So I have it about 3-4. So the 3-4 heat, medium heat, the butter is melted. Now this is where it gets funny because it says like don't stir. I am going to add 1 cup of whole milk, okay, to the dry ingredients. Voila! Here's I love to clean as I go. Like, I don't like the dishes just sitting in the sink forever. I will do them, obviously not on camera, but. So we are going to whisk, stir this together. Let's see. The Peach Cobbler. I bought whipped cream and vanilla bean ice cream. It is extremely hot here in Alien Nation, like 100, probably 114 today. It was 111 yesterday when I went out into town to get some of these ingredients. And I did 2 stops and ran back home. Actually, I didn't run. I got in my little, I still like to call them my little space shuttle. Hopped up there, hovered back to headquarters. A quick little hover, and had a lot of sweat, boob sweat. Let's see. Go back to here. It does say lumps are okay. A few small lumps are okay. So if anyone asks why I wear a scrunchie, this scrunchie in particular, this scrunchie was given to me by a good friend back east named Nicole. And it is my lucky scrunchie. You'll see it in most of my videos, but I don't ever really wear it in my hair just because it's kind of like a bracelet. Okay, that's a little thing about my scrunchie. Here we are. It says we are going to scatter the peaches over the batter and do not mix them, right? Oh, sorry, I'm reading. Okay, we are going to pour this batter into the cast iron. Are we ready? We're ready? Here we are. Sorry this isn't on film, but I'm literally just taking, this is the batter we put together. 1 cup unbleached flour, 1 cup sugar, 1.5 tablespoon baking powder, a pinch of salt, and then 1 cup whole milk. Okay, I'm going to pour this into the butter. Remember, it says do not mix, so I'm not. I'm just going to let it sit there. Do not mix. Oh boy, it's so hard not to mix, y'all. It really is. Okay. Little sip of my water. How much time are we on? 14. I'll make another video with the finished product. Here we are, the last part. The peaches. Now, one of my favorite movies is Practical Magic. It loops in our home in October every day, all day long. We have a little saying when we do anything with our magic potion, which is vanilla extract. Magic potion, make your magic. Do your magic. I would have my girls. We say this every time we make anything together. Magic potion, make your magic. Do your magic. Do your magic, everybody. We're all magical, right? We're all magical beings, I think. Okay, now this is the other part. It says do not mix. So I am going to put the peaches. Oh, this is the other thing too. While this is like we've been talking and doing the peaches, the butter and the flour mixture and sugar is kind of already cooking. I'll see if I can show you real quick. It does say concentrate. It says concentrate on putting the peaches in the middle of the cast iron, because it kind of creates a crust like on the edges. I'm going to try to lift this and show y'all. Remember, don't mix. This is where my arm workout gets really, really handy dandy. Okay, my rack is in the middle. We're going to bake this at 375. I think it was like 40 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes. I think it was around that, because we were all kind of wanting this. So we were like anxious. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like in the cast iron before I put it in the oven. Cast iron is heavy, you guys, okay? So when you do handle it, make sure that you're using, your arm muscles and mitts. I'll talk about this red thing on my cast iron in a second. Can y'all see that? Okay, I put the peaches kind of in the middle and see how the flour's already. I'm going to set it in the oven. I'm going to take this little red thing off. Although I think it can stay in there, actually. But I'm going to take it off just in case. Because to be honest with you, I haven't really baked in cast iron as much as I cook in cast iron. I cook a lot. In fact, most of my cooking I do in cast iron. But Sarah's like, gee, you can bake in cast iron. I mean, I know you can, but I'm not a big baker. Problem with me is that I don't like to follow recipes. Little pinch, then you add stuff. And so I'm getting a lot better with sticking to the plan. I'm a whirlwind. They call me the whirlwind, actually. One of my nicknames is G the Whirlwind or the Fly. Anyway, what time are we? Okay, 20 minutes or less. This is like a sleeve for the handle of a cast iron. I got this, I think online, Amazon. And you just, we are going to bake this for 30 to 45 minutes. Remember, when you're using someone else's kitchens, you can do a pre with their oven. Like, I know this oven's pretty cool with the baking time and the temperature. So I'm really going to gauge it at like 35 minutes. I'll do another recording with the finished product. Hopefully it turns out just as beautiful as when we did it at Sarah's house. Again, I got vanilla ice cream and whipped cream, and we'll do the whole shabago. Thanks, y'all, for watching. I'm practicing these YouTube lives. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I used to do the news channel with my neighbor and my sister, one of my sisters, and the neighbor kids. And we used to do live news channel. I was one of the anchors. So I don't like edits. I don't like to do editing. I don't have time to edit, actually. Most of my reels on my Instagram are all the way throughs. I always love that scene in Goodfellas. Remember when he takes her on that date and they walk through the kitchen and then into the club and they sit down? That was all like just one take. So I like stuff like that. I try to strive with things. In my drama club in high school, I loved improv for that same very reason. Thought it was all kind of spur of the moment, whirlwind, if you will. And so I make mistakes. I'm human. Alien Nation signing off. I love y'all. And Peach Cobbler, yummy, yummy. In the tummy. Bye. I love you. 2020 on the clock.